corporates and audit firms, and we give references. And we also own a blog and we do finance content, tax content, where whenever we get an updates about our finance related contents, we'll host there, and we'll get jobs across India, and we'll post in our platforms, Telegram and WhatsApp channel. So basically, we as a group run this platform. So past year we are doing only references and we're helping people to get placed. So to this new year, we have given a beginning to webinars. We got a thought to give guidance to finance professionals, not just helping to get jobs. We would like to give the guidance to approach how to approach to face interviews. And I face a problem during my studies. I do not know how many roles we have, how to attend campus placements, what kind of fields that a CA get into. So I identified this problem and I would like to get you guidance by eminent figures in this field. So last week we have conducted a webinar on campus placements, and it's really went amazing, and many people attended. And one common query that we got is like many people facing problem in choosing the domains. Many people do not even know how many domains we have in CA field. What as a CA fresher or a CA dropout or semi-qualified, where exactly after clearing he has to go. This is the query that we got in the last week. So this session, we would like to introduce all the domains that we have, what as a CA fresher we can get into, and once you get into and what exactly you can choose. So let me introduce all the domains that a CA fresher can get into. So basically our CA people has 8 subjects in CA final. So the domains we can choose is also based on these 8 subjects. For example, if you start with FR, the domains will go like, controllership, where they will put us in a place where we need to control all the funds, accounts, or financial policies of the company. The next role is financial planning and analysis, and the next accounting, financial accounting. So India's adoption, first time adoption of India's. So these are the roles that we have when with related to FR. The next, when we go into SFM, we have 4 roles. The most popular is investment banking, fund accounting, private equity, research analysis, and when company goes into raising capital, they will be asking you to give advice on investment advisory services. When we go into audit, we have 4 or 5 roles. These are major popular roles that we know: statutory audit, internal audit, forensic audit, due diligence. It will go like management consultancy, where there are lots of audits. These are the most popular audits that we have. Once we go into company law, basing on this subject, we'll be having the ROC compliances, SEBI compliances, fundraising. So all these things will be related to company law. So in this session, we would like to take an opportunity to introduce you to the most popular session, fund accounting and investment banking. Not only many people are aware of this statutory audit, all this direct taxation, cost optimization, budgeting, but these days, the most trending roles are fund accounting and investment banking. We'll be getting more opportunities with more packages with this field. If you get training on this, I'm sure you'll be getting placed in big MNCs. So this session will be hosted eminent speaker in the field, CA Madhan Reddy sir. He is based out of Bangalore. He has trained 4,000 plus professionals in this field in fund accounting and investment banking. I think he'll be having his 15 years of experience. He's an MBA graduate from IIM. So I would like to introduce him, and I would like to take this session to move forward with him. Before this session is taken by Madhan Reddy sir, I would like to hand off the session to Kishore. I would like to Kishore to handle the session and explain more on cost optimization role. Hello, Kishore.
Yeah. Thank you.
Please take the session. Give basic introduction about cost and budgeting roles.
Yeah. Thank you, Nani. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for all the people who has joined till now. The 80 participants are in this room and expecting more people to join in a few minutes. So before that, I'd like to thank you all who has joined in our last webinar, which was basically like unlock the campus placements. So it went really good, and we have got so many good positive responses, and a lot of people have been asking us to throw some light on investment banking and fund accounting roles. So here we are with the session for the benefit of all these people. Congratulations to all the CAs who has qualified in the recent results, and all of you must be eagerly waiting for the campus placements, and all of you must be really tensed and worried what is going to do, what am I going to do, and how to attend this interview. And be prepared in all the aspects, be it is technical rounds, or be it in behavioral aspects or HR rounds, whatever it is. You just have to be prepared for everything, every question and every role that you're going to face. and also wear that makeup of confidence on your face. So if there is no confidence on your face, you're not going to crack that interview at any cost. So confidence is the key, and the communication is also a plus point to you. So prepare in that aspect, prepare in such a way to portray yourself so confident, and in terms of technical aspects also, you have to be sound enough to answer every question that interviewer is going to place in your hand. And yeah, to all the hustlers who are going to face exams in coming attempt for the CA final, so you're just one step away. Just be prepared with all the subjects, and keep yourself updated with the amendments and all. So you just have to fight every day, every single day to attain that two-letter degree before your name. So don't stop preparing daily. So you have to keep fighting and keep consistent in your preparation so that you can crack your exams in coming attempt. So first things first, let me take an opportunity to introduce myself. I am CA Kishore Tondepu, qualified chartered accountant from the batch of November 2020. So I have worked in Bharati Airtel for a couple of years as a cost analyst in Bangalore. And then I have started my own practice, and now I'm a practicing chartered accountant. So, and also I'm a writer at and also a member at GolmalCA. So basically, GolmalCA is a Instagram community and a Telegram community as well. So we have a base of 11,000 followers in Instagram, and also 5,000 followers in Telegram as well, 25,000 followers in Facebook. So we have been serving for the benefit of students, qualified chartered accountants, and whatnot, everyone who is related to CA since last like 6 to 7 years. So if you're not following us, if you're not aware of this community of CAs, so please do join on our Telegram, follows on Telegram, and join in Instagram and as well. So yeah. And GCA is a community of almost like 15 members who have been serving CA students and qualified CAs since last 6 years. And so basically, what is this session for? So why are we here today in this webinar is actually, as I said earlier, in our last webinar, we have received a lot of questions to throw some light on investment banking and fund accounting roles. So here we are to give you a brief explanation, guidance, and what are the prospects and future benefits if you're going to choose this role. So this is not going to be taken care by me or Nani. We have an eminent speaker here who is well experienced, and who has quantum amount of knowledge in that role and in that field, who has been serving since many years. So CM Madhan Reddy sir is going to take that session for you all. So yeah, before we move to that main part of the webinar, I'd like to take 2 minutes to explain how the job was in Airtel and how the prospects are in cost analyst and costing side, cost finance, cost analysts or cost optimization roles or whatever which is relating to cost. So we have a subject in our CFNL which is SCMP. So basically, if you look at that subject, we used to feel that the subject is more vast, and we used to feel that the subject is more difficult to handle. So when it comes to the practical aspects of that subject, you have a couple of roles which are very famous, like cost analyst and also cost optimization roles. So these two roles in reality are very good and very interesting to handle. So I'd like to suggest, if you're really passionate towards working and towards job life, and also you have to you want to face the challenging environment in your job, then you have to then the cost analyst or cost optimization roles are a good pick for you. So yeah, basically you must have heard the name finance analyst more rather than cost analyst. So what is the difference between this cost analyst and finance analyst? Let me tell you. The cost analyst is what basically deals with the present scenario and present books of accounts and present situation of the company, which has already happened, which is not going to happen, which is already happened. So finance analysis is basically looking into the trends, looking into the ratios and profitability of business, and looking into the future aspects of business on a core basis. So finance analyst usually deals with the future, and cost analyst usually deals with the present. How the cost is flowing in the company, how the panels, what are the patterns that cost is flowing to the overheads or different cost centers, and how the cost is being booked in the company. So if you're sound enough with the costing techniques or cost reduction methods in your subject, and if you're going to apply the same in your company wherever you're working, if you can have that connect between the subject and the practical scenario in the field, if you can bridge that gap and if you can connect these two and take out your own initiatives and give your own cost reduction techniques or cost optimization methods to the company, then you'll be the pioneer in the company. You'll keep that role like anything. So if you're open for challenges and if you're really interested to explore a role which is really interesting, then cost analyst role is definitely a good choice for you. So as my experience speaks, I worked as a cost analyst in Airtel for a couple of years. So I can say that telecom is not a very good industry to work in, but definitely a challenging and interesting role industry to explore. Actually, if you can see telecom industry, you have only two major big players, which is Jio and Airtel. So if you want to shift to the other company, you have only one door open. Being standing in Airtel, I have only one door open to shift into Jio. And whether if you're going to place in Jio, you have only one door open, which is Airtel. So if you have to shift into these two companies and you don't have any big player in the market, so which we have VIL, which is we don't know when it is going to shut down basis of future aspects of the company, and maybe Adani is also going to take up their place in telecom. We never know. As per the recent downfall of the company, we never know what is going to happen in our telecom industry. So yeah, so it is exactly not the two players that telecom industries hoped upon. So actually, if you can see I mean, the basic layman explanation that I can give to telecom industry is, whenever we think of telecom, we can get the idea of towers, we can get the idea of SIM procurement, or we can get the idea of information technology. So in this information technology and SIM procurement, we don't have any bigger scope to explore in. So when it comes to the towers, we have almost like 15 to 20 companies in our India who are providing that infrastructure and who are providing the towers to the company. So basically, all these companies will also come into the world of telecom industry. So you have almost like 15 to 20 plus 2, almost like 22 companies to explore in the telecom industry. So this is not any small industry to explore, but definitely a challenging one, where you'll be demanded to understand the basic and understand the whole structure, how the telecom works, how the information technology in the telecom works. You have to understand each and every aspect. You have to understand each and every terminology, and every single word what is telecom related to. So yeah, basically, as I said, this is really interesting if you're looking for a role which is open to knowledge, open to knowledge gaining, and open to face all the adventures in your job life, and also as well as interesting things, then telecom is a good choice for you. So and regarding the pay structure in telecom industry, it is really good. So as far as I have seen, it is a bit more premium. If you can ask me, a little premium, like 10-20% premium when it is compared to the normal stereotypical roles in the industry. And regarding the growth in telecom, yes, definitely there are high chances and very decent enough graph in telecom to grow in your job life. That is pretty sure. And yeah, that is more or less about the costing related jobs and telecom industry. So before we move forward, I'd like to take this session forward by CA Madhan Reddy sir and throw light in regards to the investment banking and fund accounting roles.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, sir. Hi.
Thank you. Good morning, all.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. I mean, I'm just thinking where to start. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do agree with these people. I mean, particularly, I mean, people who are say freshers. I'm assuming most of the crowd are people who are recently qualified or people who are from that background, maybe writing exams next time. Congrats for those people who cleared CA in the recent attempt, and all the best for those people who are going to write, or those people looking for opportunities in the industry, either way. And yeah, if I can recollect my student days, particularly as a CA fresher, obviously, or during that time, let's say final year of articleship, and then while writing the exams, the obvious questions are which industry to choose. Obviously, the first question will be, is it employment versus practice? Once you decided employment is my choice, then obviously the question is which industry, what kind of role, which location, what is the CTC we can get going forward after 10 to 20 years, where my career is. Obviously, these are the questions. When we go through either some of these articles or when we meet our seniors, uh, many suggestions will come. At the end of the day, what we decided, and based on our strengths or interests, that's where the career lies. Most of the times it will take some time to know even what are our strengths, right? So theoretically, somewhere we might feel I'm good in accounts or I'm good in XYZ, but it'll take some time to realize, yes, this is where I'm good at. Otherwise, it's purely goes by interest. That's where I also choose investment banking. Obviously, many people used to say maybe SAP is one of them, or foreign locations, working for foreign locations is one of them, or Big Four is one of them. But I was kind of very clear, yes, only investment banking. Even while we are writing the exams, people used to say, now, if somebody knows this industry, 2005, 2006, that period is kind of golden period for IB companies. I mean, the stock market was also in kind of a bullish mode. They used to come to either campus interviews or off-campus recruitment, where the salaries they were offering is really high. As a student, generally, that is one of the area that gives us more interest. If some of our friends are placed at XYZ number, maybe let's say if you're talking about 10 lakhs range, if somebody got 15, normally that motivates you. That's one of the reason we started inquiring about investment banking. One of the point we came to know is you have to clear as a rank holder, or you have to clear CA final at least in the first attempt. That's where you can get into the industry. And Mumbai is one of the best place. These are the advices or kind of conclusions we draw. That's where I also planned my exams. I wrote my exams and went to Mumbai to start this career. Thank God we cleared in the first attempt. And then unfortunately, 2007, 2008 crisis, people might have heard. It's even more than, I mean, if I look at the market impact wise, it's more than 2020 crisis, like COVID crisis when the market fell. It was even bigger. People were having a doubt whether these IB companies will survive or not. Most of the companies might go for liquidation, like Lehman Brothers went at that time. That's when people started putting a question, maybe you're choosing the wrong industry, but we are certain it is such a big industry. Most of these companies like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, if you see those companies, 150 years plus, most of them are at least 100 years plus. So when the industry is such big and companies are such old, overnight, nothing can disappear. Or if you go to the basics of that industry, at the end of the day, it's all about money, right? Maybe a company like Infosys or Zomato or anybody want to raise the money, obviously, obvious choice is going to investment banker. So that stock market culture or companies having need of capital, companies doing the business, these are all fundamentals. Overnight, or for that matter, forever, they cannot disappear. Those services requirement will always be there. That's where when we look into the basics, I'm sure this is one of the industry to choose. That's where we stick to it. I started my career with Deutsche Bank in Mumbai. Then I moved to, actually, we thought of getting into, as usual, mergers kind of roles, mergers and acquisitions or consulting roles. But that was not the right time. When people are in the kind of, closing out some companies or sacking of many people, layoffs are happening. That was not the place or time that we can think of. So we started with normal finance divisions. Then I moved to analytics within Deutsche Bank. Then at that time, when we revisited, the private equity fund accounting industry was taking up in India. So I started with private equity, real estate fund accounting related areas with JP Morgan in 2010. I started career in 2008, and the next company was JP Morgan into fund accounting and all. That was really interesting to me. The reason is most of these MNC jobs, either you are a CA or MBA or graduate, most of these MNC jobs, it will take some good amount of time to you to understand what is your work scope before you start your work, who has completed. Normally the work will be split into many parts. It is not like a small audit office where You'll start the audit, you will complete the audit, maybe partner will sign it. That kind of things will not happen in MNCs, right? Maybe the same work, for example, preparation of financials and completing the audit. Maybe they'll put it into 20 teams, for example. Maybe somebody will do some work from London, somebody will do some work from New York, etc. You will do one part of the work. So as a fresher, if you get into the industry, by the time you understand what is this company, what is this team, then by the time you understand what exactly is the work you're doing, how to do it better, it will take good amount of time. You don't know head and tail. Somewhere you start as a monotonous work. But that is almost not there in the fund accounting. That's where I liked it more, because most of the times what they do or they are doing now also is, if the one fund is launched by somebody, let's say Goldman Sachs launched a fund, maybe 4 investors gave, for example, 50,000 crores to them, for example. That 50,000 crores will be invested into, let's say, companies like Paytm, Flipkart, Zomato, etc. Now, you have to finalize the financials, or you have to do the audit of that financials, or one section, maybe take the valuations as of today for that investment, and then, record the gain or loss. So this area, it looks like where from the money is coming, where they are investing, where the profits are coming to that fund. So everything we are able to understand in the realistic manner. And even some of the financials are also really kind of colorful. As a student, that used to attract me as well. For example, if a fund invested into few 5-star hotels, maybe few shopping malls, for example, even they put those photos in the financials and explain, this investment gave me this profit. This investment maybe gave me this kind of loss. So when I see those investments names also, I could easily understand. They invested in Act Fibernet or Hathway Fibernet or Reliance Jio. So it's a kind of very close to real time. It's not like some number crunching I'm doing without knowing some Excel spreadsheet I'm processing. That is not the case. That's where it looks interesting to me. Then I stick to it. As a fresher, generally one mistake we do is keep jumping. Either it may be for salaries, or maybe for somebody, my friend refer me in that, maybe location, it's near to my hometown. Many things tempt us. At the end of the day, right. At the end of the day, we have to stick to either our instinct or kind of, one career. If we keep jump, we'll be good at nothing. Particularly these MNCs, by default, they prefer somebody who can bring value addition. Means you should have that depth knowledge. If you say that give me opportunity, I'll learn and then do, it's not the time for them. I mean, their clients are giving money to them to provide the service, not somebody to learn. So that's where you have to stick to one career. That's where I stick. I mean, we never moved away from the core area, like investment banking or financial services area. Even though we change the companies for different reasons, we stick to one area. That's where at least, we will become one of the expert in that area. I mean, obviously expert is maybe a wrong word. Obviously there is a lot of depth. The more, the more the time you spend. When we speak to our bosses or my bosses, who might be 20 years in the industry, 30 years in the industry, who are the MDs or, the kind of India head or global head, these kind of people, obviously we get a lot of insights further. Then we realize what we know is kind of nothing. There is a lot to learn. I mean, that is common in any field. I think, again, the point I'm trying to say is the more the time you spend on single area, obviously you'll become an expert, or at least in the direction you'll move. Otherwise, you keep moving A industry today, B industry today, just because money is better, location is better. If you look back after 15 years, 20 years, it looks like, nothing. I mean, almost a fresher or 2 years experience guy can compete with you. Almost in everything. That will not work. That will not give you what you call it as that recognition. A company normally look for, particularly these MNCs, because again, as I said, most of their clients are multi-billionaires. I mean to say, overnight they can invest in any project that you can call for, or ask them to invest thousands of crores or lakhs of crores. Some of them institutional investors. That is their capacity. Then there is no choice, or there is no chance for them to attempt with freshers. This is where some CA freshers, or even IM kind of MBA freshers or CFA holders normally ask this question. I'm aiming for consulting role as a fresher. It's very difficult. The reason is simple. They look for that expertise, maybe, that kind of a intellectual brain, if I use that word, as a fresher, because you will not have experience. It's not easy to convince them, yes, I'm a right guy. But then as far as you stick to the industry, then you can always move, start with B team and then move to A team. That way you can always make a long-term career, but sticking to one area is important. That's what I have done, at least personally. When I look back and compare my friends, etc., who might have started with practice and then move to industry, then go back to practice, or I mean, many moves here and there, here and there, here and there for different reasons. Most of them are like, we can see that what we did is right. I mean, sticking to one industry or looking for expertise. And particularly, obviously, sticking to one industry is one thing. Making sure that industry is growing. That's where, when the industry is growing, your growth will also be good. Otherwise, maybe if you're good, you can excel in any industry, even though its industry is not doing great. But competition is too high. Right. So that's all. If the road is good and vehicle is good, the speed can be maintained. If the road is in bad condition, vehicle is super, still you can't do much. So that's where, again, industry also matters. That's where whenever I make a calculation, simple calculations, right? So let's say if I take my industry, like IB industry, where I worked, it's all about money. So there is no way we can think of money is out of our lives, right? Currency format can change. Maybe you're using a printed currency or gold before, or maybe you're using Bitcoin or something now. You might use something else, but it will stay there. Same way, a company may be raising capital from public before IPO. Now maybe they are rising from private equity, but raising money is common, doing the business is common. So that way, if I look back to core business or core idea of that industry, that will be there. So then we don't have any tension about the career. Minimum, if I look at anybody, if you start a career at around 25 years, if you retire at 55, 65, whatever, 30 to 35 years, maybe effective career around 30 years. If that industry is there, then enough. I mean, you don't need too many calculations. You can choose that industry. That's how I went with. That's the same thing we tell to our students also. As far as the basic questions are answered, you can stick to the industry. The only thing is stay consistently. I mean, be consistent learner. Choose the right career moves. If at all, if you have to choose a different company for a different reason, choose the right company. Don't jump into every possible company, or don't jump into more industries, etc., etc. So stick to your strengths or to one industry. So that's where we go. With that background, yes, I'm spending this IB related area we can discuss today. Maybe any question you may have, I'm really happy to answer whatever I know. But then, yeah, it's all about the career opportunities in fund accounting or investment banking, or maybe what are the salaries we can expect, what are the companies normally recruit, what kind of career opportunities over a period. Particularly as a fresher, normally we look for a job in the hand. 1 year if you spend, then the next question comes. Do I have kind of a safe career, or if I really want to stick to the career, do I have options? Next level questions comes. That's where I always say in my their awareness sessions or anywhere, don't look for just job, somewhere it will come. The point is at least look beyond, at least next 5 years. If I join this company or this industry, do I have career? So on those lines, any questions you may have, we can take up. In that process only, maybe high level, I can say the difference between investment banking and fund accounting or related terms, I can answer. Go ahead if you have any questions. A few we will take and then I'll continue.
Thank you, sir. So here we have a question in our chat box. So please explain the kind of roles are there for CA freshers in investment banking side.
Take 1 second. Let me share. Normally use Excel more for writing. Otherwise, so let me share that Excel sheet only. Okay, so see, maybe before I can take up that question, maybe the same person who asked the question, or maybe others can answer. What's your idea about either investment banking as a word or the companies? Normally, if I say investment banking companies, top 10 companies, if you hear, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, HSBC, Citi, etc. comes. So what's your understanding that these companies do? What kind of work they do? Anybody can participate. Based on that, I can answer the question.
It's a banking related activities.
You mean to say probably retail banking, like taking the deposits and giving the loans, kind of?
Yes.
Okay. See, nowadays, most of these IB companies also have that retail banking where they also do that. For example, JP Morgan is mainly known as a retail bank like State Bank of India in America or other countries. Deutsche Bank also similar, but then that's not the main division. If you look at Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, IB division, investment banking, that's different. It's not retail banking. Anybody else, please?
Invest funds.
Satyabrata, your voice is breaking. Maybe internet connection. Please check.
Give investment advices.
Okay.
Where to.
Okay. For example, you are a wealthy investor, you have money, and you don't know where to invest. If you go to them, they'll tell you maybe invest into real estate, invest into stock market. So that's what I think you are telling. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is one that largely comes to another division of most of these investment banking companies. They call it as asset management or wealth management division. Let me put there. Of course, that's where most of the openings nowadays we are seeing. That's what largely fund accounting all comes to the same point. Let me put there. They call it as asset management or wealth management, or in a way I can say largely. I'll tell you why it is also called as fund accounting and all. I mean, minute differences at the end of the day, but everything matters, particularly if you want to make a career in any industry, everything matters. I mean, knowing exact meaning. Otherwise, somewhere I read, somewhere I heard that kind of mentality will not work with these companies, because they expect that kind of expertise, in the sense, you know what you are doing, you know for what job you are applying, etc. So that also matters. But anyhow, I'll take up. But then what you said is that's the second division, asset management or wealth management, where they advise their clients on where to invest. I'll talk about it later. Again, coming back to the main question, that IB, what exactly the division of investment banking in a company like Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan do? Anybody?
Finalizing the M&A acquisitions,
Right.
that kind of work.
Right. For example, let's say
IPO.
Walmart. You're right. Mainly these two, you're right. IPO and mergers and acquisitions. So for example, maybe let's say Walmart company want to purchase Flipkart company in India. So they will reach, Walmart company reached out to JP Morgan, actually also this is what it is. And Flipkart Bangalore, they reached out to Goldman Sachs Bangalore office. Now, Goldman Sachs will try to get the best value to the Flipkart company, because Flipkart is their client. The other side, Walmart client, I mean, JP Morgan will try to purchase Flipkart at a reasonable price and for the good conditions. I mean, terms and conditions should be favorable to them. So that way, JP Morgan will represent the person who's acquiring the company, like Walmart. This side, this guy, Goldman Sachs, will try to help Flipkart to find out the right buyer who can pay the better money, who can give the better terms and conditions to them. So likewise, any company want to expand their business, maybe Infosys want to expand in America, for example, or maybe Reliance want to expand in Gulf countries. So for all these things, these guys will help them. One, what companies to acquire in those countries. Two, at what price to acquire. Three, what are the terms and conditions. Four, all regulations. In India, you have to get the permission from, let's say, Competition Commission of India. For example, Flipkart, they try to, even Amazon is one of the options for them to sell Flipkart. If they can put a competition between Walmart and Amazon, most likely they'll get the best price. But then permission will not come. If Amazon has to acquire Flipkart, they'll not allow, because no competition, then Amazon and Flipkart getting merged kind of thing. So they have to look into all these things, then advise what is the right choice to buy and what price, etc. These are all kind of mergers and acquisitions. The other side, IPO, yes, either Zomato or Paytm or any company want to raise the capital in the market. They'll find out what is the right time to raise the capital, what is the right price to sell the share, etc. So it's kind of advisory. So is it easy to get into those kind of roles for a CA fresher? Very difficult. For a simple reason, as we said, not only just financial statements, understanding, etc. skills are required. Obviously, those are also required. But then you need a broader understanding, like, what are the strengths of this company? What are the weaknesses of the opponent? What are the negotiation skills, how to convince somebody to either invest or sell something. So broader skill set is required there. That's where generally, again, I'm using the word generally. Let's say in IIM Bangalore, IIM, whatever IIM, if you take also, let's say there are maybe 200 people are trying, for example, from those things. Maximum maybe 20 will get into these. Remaining 180 still, they will also be rejected. But then if they look for a combination, let's say Goldman Sachs need 10 people to recruit, for example, they might look for 4 IIM guys, 4 CFA guys, and 2 CAs, for example. In that quota, you might get. But then again, normally you have to be really good. Maybe mostly that is where it goes to first attempt or rank holders. Even then, if you say academically, I'm really good, can I get into? Again, no. You need proper guidance, proper skill set, in a sense, practical understanding of the market. Almost every day reading the newspapers like, Economic Times, understanding the business, and then right connection. This is where most of us, we miss. So you needed somebody from the industry who can take your resume forward and then get the right referral. So with all these combinations are possible, but really difficult. Coming back to the second part of the question, what roles these investment banking companies offer to see a fresher or people from this background, or even MBAs and all. Mostly CA freshers, they take it to the finance teams of these companies. For example, Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, they will also have finance teams, right? Who will prepare the financials of Goldman Sachs, or maybe one division of financials. That's where you might have heard these roles like product controller, legal entity controller, tax controller, internal audit. Most of these areas is what they offer. There are people who first get into these roles where, because of your qualification, you can get into. They're the strong knowledge of accounting, your core subjects, plus industry knowledge, like what this company is doing, etc. That understanding, if you have, you can get into these companies with good communication skills and all those. Then you can move to other roles. If you have an aspiration, yes, I want to be in the research and all. It's not easy again, but then with the right guidance, it's possible. So that's one. So those are the rules. So for example, if you look at our placement also in the recent times, most of the CF ratios, mostly we sent into fund accounting. That I'll talk about later. Coming back to investment banking, we send to, let's say, companies like Barclays or UBS or Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, most of these things into mainly finance divisions, or somewhere they call it as back office or middle office, where you need to have this knowledge like derivatives and all these financial products, plus communication, plus accounting. Right. So I hope that answers your query. If there is more, I can add.
Yeah, the next question. Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking up that question. The next question is it mandatory that you need to be a rank holder, or you need to clear in single attempt of your CFNL to explore a job in investment banking or fund accounting?
Straight answer is no. But then, yes, they'll give the weightage because of the reasons I already said. Right. So, for example, most of these practical scenarios will not give you too much time to learn, make a mistake and then learn and then amend or correct. You should be smart enough to quickly understand the client's requirements or your manager instructions and execute quickly. So if you are like a person, generally one of the understanding or kind of a interpretation is, if you are taking too many attempts, probably normally you're not smart enough. Probably that's one. Maybe you have not planned properly, something of this sort. That is one kind of interpretation. Again, nobody's saying it is right or wrong for various reasons. If you're missing the exam, that's a different point. But then second, when they have the paying capacity, that is one of the good thing about this industry, is because it's all about money. It's not like a manufacturing like Maruti Suzuki, where production is done by somebody like engineers, and in the finance team, you just have to take care of tax reporting or accounting. It's not like that. Here, mostly it's any service industry. Largely, you are in the business division. Even though you're in the finance, largely somewhere interconnection is there. So if you are making one, for example, take it this way. One investor came, maybe somebody in the front office convinced the investor to come and invest money. Now you're preparing the profit or loss of that investor. Now you make a mistake while reporting the profit. Instead of profit of 100 crores, you reported profit of 80 crores to that client. Gone, that reputation is gone. He'll not come and invest in that company next time. So that way, even though you're not doing the direct business with the investor, maybe investors from other countries, they expect that kind of smart, in the sense, you understand your role, you understand very good understanding of the industry, the profile of the investor, so properly planned and executed. So this is where generally they give weightage to % people are rank holders. But as such, that is not the requirement. At the end of the day, this qualities is what is important. That's where many companies changed. Earlier, Goldman Sachs kind of companies used to keep only first attempt guys, I'll take it. When I was there also, we were recruiting even 3 attempts is what generally for freshers, they keep it as a cutoff. But there are days we recruited more than 4 attempts and all, also when they have somewhere those relevant skill set or certifications they have added. So it's all about your attitude is one side. We will obviously test in the interview. And then remaining in the resume, when we see something, some other certifications you have done, or maybe somewhere you have done audit of those kind of companies, some extra skills, if we could see, attempt, we will bypass and take it. That's what we used to do. HR might say quite obviously 3 attempts as per policy we have taken, but if you can request, there is a chance Even beyond that, it is a possibility. So short answer is no. As such, are some companies are giving based on the attempt more salary or less salary, that can be worked out. But largely, even if you have more attempts, that can be worked out. We have worked out in many cases.
Great, that really sounds helpful to the question. So we'll go to the next question, where investment banking roles like trade support or derivatives or data management, etc., or fund accounting roles for a better growth in life in terms of wealth and balanced life. Please suggest which role to go for. Is it investment banking roles like trade support or derivatives, or else is it fund accounting roles? Which one is better?
Right. So this is where many things will club. For example, they call it as global markets. If you see, for example, a company like Goldman Sachs or any company ka website, very high level, I can put it into roughly 4 divisions they have, or 4 kinds of. If you look at investment banking, we discussed already, where these divisions are doing is kind of advisory into. One second, let me put it there for. Right. So here we are talking about mergers, acquisitions, IPO, high level. That's what all about capital structuring. Here, all about advising the investors on where to invest or how to invest, etc., etc. It's all about asset management. This is where largely you get into private equity, hedge funds, mutual funds. High level, I'm putting the broader classifications. Then global markets is where your point will come, something like trade support. All about, for example, let's say you opened a demat account. Now, to buy the shares or whatever product like derivatives, you have to go through a stock broker like Zerodha, HDFC Securities, ICICI Securities, etc. These investment banks like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, HSBC, etc., they also have that license with almost every stock exchange in the world. So they are stock brokers from that perspective. Now, if a hedge fund or any other client want to buy or sell anything, they reach out to them. So stat, let's say you are working in that team, that is where you have to do all these things. Take the orders and place the orders into stock exchange, make sure that trades are executed, then accounting related to that, and then contract notes preparation, sending to the client. All these things are largely comes under global markets. So those are the 3 divisions that we are talking about. Coming back to your question, difficult to talk about work-life balance, which team will have, etc., because it's all combination most of the times. One is how the client, for example, take fund account. Most of the projects are now getting outsourced from other countries to India. Now, if the client has a lot of volume and then recently outsourced to India, to settle down, it will take some time where maybe the work volumes can be more. Otherwise, if it is already settled down, where earlier roles I talked about, CS getting into like product controllers roles or legal entity controllers roles, etc., most of them are kind of stabilized. At least companies like JP Morgan, etc., because those roles came into India somewhere around 2006-7 and all. Now they are stabilized. It will be normal, 5 days working, roughly around 8 hours per day. That's where it goes. Some of the new projects, yes, it will be more. Coming to trade support and all, generally those are offered to MBA freshers, graduate freshers, or CA disqualified, semi-qualified, etc. Because not much complexity from the accounting side there. You just need to understand the market and then products like what is ADR, GDR, derivatives like futures, options, all these products, TRS, total return swap, all those things. So, but I don't think for CA fresher that is advised. That's okay, kind of a role, if at all, if you get also. But we normally say move to other roles where financial side, at least complexities are there, like finance controllers roles or fund accounting. That's where most of the growth is happening.
Okay, that is straightforward the answer.
So one more.
Yeah.
So can you discuss about packages, starting packages for all the roles, for all qualifications?
See,
I think that is a
right.
major question for everyone.
Right. So CF freshers, largely as of now, if I take out our placement records also from last 6 months, by and large, the best packages are coming in the fund accounting because of the 2 reasons. One, the industry is growing and there is a good amount of competition between the companies. And initial stages, they spend more at least. Later, they can optimize whatever. So roughly, if you ask me, very high level across the divisions, anywhere between somewhere fixed I'm taking. I'm not taking the CTC because CTC, all these companies, almost all companies, they don't include variable or shift allowances or any other perks in that. Only fixed, they talk about. So fixed, I'm talking about 8 to 15 in between most of these got. If you are a first attempt or something like that, some companies into fund accounting offered somewhere around between 13 to 15 or 11 to 15. Other companies like IB companies into product controllers roles, etc., mostly between 10 to 12. They have offered something like Goldman Sachs or Barclays, etc. Largely, that's what I can say. With some guidance and then some good amount of preparation, maybe you can target ideal number around between 9 to 12. Most of the people can target. If you have some good credentials, maybe from there you can target a little more. See, IB roles normally they pay better. Even we have some students from colleges like Sriram College of Commerce or any other good colleges, even graduates, they give more than 20 lakhs. But those are, it's not easy to get into. So that's why those numbers I'm not taking. Only normal with your CA background, with little bit of communication skills and little bit of product knowledge. Largely you can target up to 15 is the right number as a fresher.
It looks the numbers are decent enough to club into these roles. So we'll move to the next question. Any experience in AML KYC is helpful to find a job in fund accounting?
To some extent, yes. But then more experience into that is normally seen as, you're not much updated. So because anti-money laundering, AML or KYC, know your customer. These rules are mainly used in the banking industry. If I'm accepting a new customer into my bank, I'll take it. Otherwise, maybe a mutual fund house, for example, a private equity hedge fund house, when they are taking new customers, they have to check all these things, how good that customer profile is. So most of them based on the rule. For example, if somebody is depositing more than 10 lakhs, have a question, ask for the proof. Likewise, if somebody is a company, ask this documentation, board of directors resolution, etc. If it is somebody is an individual from other country, ask passport. So most of them are rule driven because it's a most of the act like Prevention of Money Laundering Act in India, PMLA. Those decide what kind of rule you have to do there. Less in terms of any innovation or maybe a lot of you want to apply your discretion, less chances. So most of those rules are seen as you have to apply what you have learned somewhere, or you have to follow a checklist to make sure mistakes are not happening. So that way, if you spend more time, generally those are seen as low level jobs. Generally, again, I'm saying exceptions can always be there for experts. That's a different point. So coming back to the main questions, fund accounting to AML, yes, there is a strong connection. If you're particularly work in a company like State Street or any other asset management industry related companies into those roles, yes, some weightage will be given. But most of the fund accounting things, they need strong domain knowledge. What is these funds? Where are they launching these funds? How the structure of the funds are done in international scenarios? How the management fee incentive is calculated? So that knowledge is missing in these kind of roles, AML, KYC. So little bit weightage will come, but then how you present your case, what's your learning in that company, and maybe how you link your work with other funds. For example, I processed AML, KYC. Then those customers are accepted into funds like private equity. So I have knowledge about private equity. So that way, if you can connect to some extent, it will work. But otherwise, yeah, those are the areas as a fresher, even if you get into it, it's better to move out. There's no point in sticking long time. Again, generally, I'm saying, yeah.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Sai Kumar. We'll move to the next question. What is the major difference between big three management companies and IB companies? Because both of them are providing consultancy to businesses.
See, consulting is, as a word, obviously, it's very wide open and subjective, right? Mostly, it's all about who is your client is the first point. What is the reason they came to you is the second point. So if you take IB companies, the client is somebody like Zomato. They want to raise the money from the market. Now, they don't know what is the best source. Whether going for IPO is the best source, going for a private equity funding is the best source. Going for debt capital to raise is a better option, or equity is a better option. So here, the knowledge I need is understanding the market, what are the interest rates in the economy, what is the best source, and understanding the market and investor mindset. Maybe there are days issuing the shares and raising money is very easy, something like 2020, 2021 period. When interest rates are rising like 2022, it is not the right time. So that way, if you are into IB, it's a little focused area. It's all about money. What investors are thinking, what are the interest rates in the economy, how is the market conditions, more liquidity, less liquidity, etc. Any other normal consulting, it differs. For example, if they are giving consulting to manufacturing company, or maybe sometimes they come with, specific purpose which is related to that industry, maybe to cost optimization or maybe capital structure, restructuring the capital, etc., etc. So that is little wide open. Probably, you have to be good at many things. But here, when it comes to IB, largely it's money, money, money. It's all about what is the best source of money. Otherwise, if I'm buying another company, what is good company to acquire? So it's a little focused. That's all I can say. But very high level, yeah, all of them are consulting. All of them about understanding the business, understanding the requirement of the client, and giving the answer. But it has a specific purpose when it comes to IB.
Oh yeah, I hope that clears your question, Mohan Raj. So the next question is, Suresh is pointing us, hi sir, good morning. I am semi-qualified CA. I have a knowledge and passionate about cash market, equity market, F&O, commodities, IPO and FPO. So am I eligible to get a best job with a good package?
Interest is different. Obviously, that is one thing that is good. But then how you can tell to the company, I'm good with that skill set, that is important question. If you can tell them, your resume talks about, yes, I really have these skills, then possible. Obviously, that as I said, I myself spent more than 10 years directly, and the last 4 years by training these all CA, MBA people into investment banking and fund accounting training and placing them. We are continuously in touch with the industry. With that experience and knowledge, I can say opportunities are obviously there. It is one industry which is not much explored in India, particularly when you compare with a country like America or any other developed countries. The curriculum they have in their studies and universities is way in detail. And even the culture, right? Maybe, for example, if you take somebody 25 years old in country like America, maybe their parents and grandparents are also might be invested into stock market, bonds, etc. So they have that background. They know what it is, way to invest. So that way, the level of knowledge is really high in those countries. When it comes to India, most of us, even if we have a professional degree like CA or MBA from a top college also, we have limited knowledge, like, the definitions only. What is commodities market? What is stock market? If somebody give you maybe 10,000 and ask you, tell me which stock to invest with profit, I mean, you might say your opinion. The point is, if you can give consistent return out of that stock, very, very few have that kind of a knowledge. So if you take that industry, I'm sure to come to that level of situation in India, it might take at least minimum few decades, where many people are talking about stock market, many people understanding the money, differential interest rates, different assets. I mean, most of the culture that we have in India is, if somebody has surplus money, they always talk about investing into gold or real estate. It starts and ends there mostly, or bank fixed deposit or something like postal savings schemes and all. Very few people have this kind of an idea, like, which industries are going to do well in the next 20 years, what are the different types of bonds or other like derivatives and all. Very few. So that way, if you have that interest, obviously there's a first tick mark. Come to the second, in India, still we have very, very low level of maturity. We see some people, for example, either CAs or CFAs or whatever, get into some industry with limited knowledge because there's no much competition some people are getting into. But then they struck at the career growth. For example, people who are trained or having good background, maybe within 2 years, they'll become, for example, let's say assistant manager or manager or something of that sort. This guy who got into the job, he'll stuck there. He'll not have promotion. Now he'll look into, where is it went wrong? Then they'll come for the guidance, etc. Then they grow. So my point is, getting into industry may be relatively still easy in India, because not many people knows that area. As far as you put some efforts, that's what we also got into. We don't have this kind of coaching institutes that we have specialized for the industry at that time. We also did some, Google and YouTubes and seniors and all, here and there, some blogs and all. Somehow we got into. But then when we compare with somebody who has guidance, for example, I have some bosses, their parents are also into similar industry, or their brothers or sisters, somebody 10 years experience, they are into this industry. So they guided them. This is the best company to choose. This is the best location to choose. This is the best role to choose. So they became our managers and we were not. That's where, when we really compare, we realize, no, something is not right. I mean, we need that kind of an institution. That's where we started. So coming back to your point again, if you can continue to develop that knowledge and take the guidance, certainly there are enough opportunities with that interest and a little bit of a skill set. You can choose. And third point, as I said, though your question is not including that, getting into industry is one thing. Continuously having a good career is the most important. everybody, the moment we are not having job, the mind is full of job, whether my friend is getting better salary and am I getting better salary. This will last for maximum 6 months. It's done there. Maybe you got 12 lakhs, your friend got 10 lakhs, or your friend got 14, you got 12, whatever it is, it's done. From there, nobody asks you after 5 years, what is your salary? What is your salary? The point is, what is the work-life balance you have, learning you have, respect you have in that, and knowledge, the job security, all these things comes into the picture. That's where this is one of the best industry, because less competition again for the quality resources. Again, we might see we have so much population, every college or course is touching base investment banking or financial management. I do agree. But how many are experts, or how many are going into the depth? That's the problem, right? As a student, SFM is one subject to you like any other subject. So you might have given only that respect or weightage to that. Now, if you choose whatever it is, tax or internal audit or whatever it is, investment banking, you have to travel with that for next 20, 30 years. So if you read 3 months one subject and if you think expert, that's absolute wrong way to think, right? So if you spend 20, 30 years in the industry, you come across almost every practical situation. Even somebody in practice also, first year practice guy versus 20, 30 years experienced practice senior partner, they have a vast amount of difference, rather vast knowledge, and the amount of difference in the knowledge is different. So that way, if you are traveling in that route because of your interest, certainly there are career opportunities you can easily get into. I don't see any challenge. You cannot get into the industry. So get into if you have interest. Any help we can offer, we are happy. But otherwise also, as far as you're continuously upgrading your skills and then knowing about the industry, there's a long way to go here.
Perfect.
So
But
one
the
more thing.
stressing part of this question is he's a semi-qualified CA. So how good is for him to explore into these roles?
I mean, I see that's what. So it doesn't matter, even MBA or semi-qualified or even a graduate. We ourselves, many people we have placed from our side also. That's not a, I mean, for some roles they might ask, yes, CA fresher, etc., but doesn't matter. As far as you can showcase, one, I have interest, two, I have that skill set, three, I know where to apply. Yes, there are opportunities for semi-qualified also.
So one more doubt.
Yep.
How about the impact of recession on these kind of jobs, both this fund accounting and because these companies are related to JP Morgan, in all these companies, what about the impact of recession?
There are 2 points. One point, as such industry, yes, no industry is an exception to any layoffs. When the business itself is struggling, there's no point in recruiting more people. They will lay off. That's what some of you might have seen. Goldman Sachs laid off some people, or XYZ company, Amazon, everything. That way, industry-wide, there'll be impact. But in the last 10, 20 years, if you see, most of the times when there is a recession, more roles are sent to India because high-paid jobs. For example, if I could have hired somebody 30 years back in US, maybe they are drawing in Indian equivalent. Freshers itself will get 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs kind of thing. I mean, Indian money versus US money I'm talking about. So now they might be paying some crores. With that, they can easily create at least, for one job, maybe they can create at least 20 jobs in India. So that way, most of the times when there is a recession, more jobs are created in India. Can it happen again? That we have to wait and see. Come to fund accounting, it is still outsourcing is happening because, again, same earlier, countries like India, they were not expecting people to understand all these things like, what is mutual fund, what is private equity fund, where do they invest, how do they evaluate the business and then invest. All these skills are not there in India, or they believe we don't have, or even accounting for those things. So it used to be almost no roles outsourcing. When we worked in JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, very limited roles they outsourced to India, that too in their roles. I mean, working for Goldman Sachs, just review kind of thing, or maybe working with the fund managers on memo preparation, etc., or valuation of some investments, limited roles we used to do. But if you see from last 3-4 years, companies like Citco or Apex or Northern Trust, or many companies like Citi, JP Morgan, all these guys are bringing roles to India. That is expected to continue at least this year, next year, etc., which means we are not seeing at least any big impact on either layoffs, and recruitment most likely will continue. At least when we spoke to HR almost on a daily basis, most of the indications are we have good recruitment this year, because HR can only speak about this year. They are not CEOs to talk about next year. So we are not expecting much impact in India in that industry, and most likely it might pick up to reduce the cost there. And one more indication, strong enough indications are top companies like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, all, they have either started or starting their own offices in India. When you go back to 2005, 2006 and all, rented offices, they started as a one center. Now most of the workforce after America, they have in India only, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs kind of thing, and they have expanded. Even GS Bangalore office, if you see, almost thousands of capacity, they have own offices, and Hyderabad also they're setting up now. Slowly, tech roles and all they have added, now they're adding. So that way, with all these indications, I can say impact either limited or most likely going to be positive for India market at least.
Great,
Thank
sir.
you.
Very well. So next question is, this must be the hardest question for people who are already who are already working in the finance role. So if I want to change the profile from finance to IB, is it possible to do so?
So at least in fund accounting, it's happening mainly for the reason, let's say they're setting up office in India. Let's take any example, one company like Citco or Apex or whatever company, even JP Morgan. Let's say to lead a team of, let's say 40 people, I need maybe 10 years experience, one person, maybe 5 years experience, 3-4 people, likewise. Freshers, maybe 50% of that, 20%, to 20 people, for example, out of 40-member team, I need some experience. Do I have those many straight away in India? No, because the industry itself is new. We are not getting those many people, which means there are many people, even we have either CA background or whatever background, at least 5 years, 10 years they spent in other industries and now moved to fund accounting. We did that. So which means that is possible when bulk recruitments are happening. Over a period, obviously, the more experience you spent in other industries, it will become difficult because they expect probably you will not be in that stage where your learning curve will be steep, right? So maybe your expertise is somewhere. Over a period, it will go down. That's where we always say is, in the early stages of your career, jumping is very easy. That doesn't mean you can keep jump to A industry to B to C to D. There will be a day, if you look back, you know nothing. I mean, you're not an expert on anything else. The life will become extremely difficult. We have every type of case we dealt from last 4 years. I'm into the same industry where training and placements we are doing. We are trying out our best to help many people from those backgrounds completely into marketing, completely into a data punching job, or completely into practice. Now I want to change. As of now in fund accounting, that is happening. Even though you have around 10 years experience in practice, for example, we have people who move to this industry, or even 15 years industry people, manufacturing companies or normal general ledger like Genpact kind of companies who worked on joining. All those things are happening as of now. But IB, yes, we saw the same trend in 2006, 2007, 2010 period. Most of them managers also from manufacturing industry at that time, because Deutsche Bank kind of people are setting up office in India. They took, but now it's very limited. So answer is, as of now, it's happening. Whenever there is a bulk recruitment, that do happens. But then once the industry is kind of mature, it will stop. So don't take it for granted. It will always happen like that. At the same time, no need to kind of discourage, I cannot move. But again, you have to customize your skill set to get suitable skill set for that industry. Then it's possible. As of now, it's happening.
Seems the doors are open for finance guys also.
Yeah.
So the next question is, hi sir, I am an MBA postgraduate having 3 years of experience in mortgage, and I am interested in IB industry. So what kind of roles I can get?
Yeah, this is where we said while choosing, we have to be very careful. Any job is the wrong attitude. Many people got into easily available jobs like mortgage. Then we are seeing many people, some people who are smart enough, they are able to change. So short answer to your question, can I change? First question, yes. First answer, yes. But it is not always easy. That's where you have to be a little cautious. Come to the second part of the question, what kind of roles I can get? Again, it's now depends on your profile. When I say profile, one, MBA from which college and which specialization is one. Two, what exactly you have done here, how you can correlate at least some part of your work to the IB related is something important. For example, you did maybe in an IB company, which also have a mortgage related roles, etc. Maybe if you can say somewhere I was involved into IB related projects also, or that will be a plus. If not, maximum you have to now capitalize on your strengths in terms of knowledge. Maybe doing more certifications and showing a strength in your resume. Maybe I spent in the different industry, maybe wrong industry for my choice or my career goals. But then I'm really good with stock market related topics or fund accounting related topics, etc. If you can highlight in the resume, then if you can take some references and get the interview opportunity, There you have to highlight, okay, I have limited experience related to IB, which is because it's a different experience, but then I have the skills and I have that attitude to make the career in this industry. If you can show, there are many types of roles. I mean, any role that is open for either CA or other qualifications, like either, let's say, for example, fund accounting, either preparation of the financials or maybe portfolio valuations related teams or financial reporting kinds of roles, or within IB, let's say IB operations roles, buying and selling of shares or reconciliations, any of these roles. I mean, largely I said those three divisions, right? Global markets or fund accounting or asset management is one, and then IB. IB obviously a little difficult, but then related roles, any role you can change. There are people from other industries. We kind of help them to move. They'll accept, but then again, that's what we have to showcase those skill set. So possibility is there, but then you have to put those efforts to get this knowledge and present your case.
What kind of roles are open for him?
That's what I said. All three divisions means within asset management, let's say it can be fund accounting also if he has some bit of accounting knowledge, or financial reporting of the funds, or portfolio valuations, like spreadsheet kind of companies normally go for those portfolio valuation related teams, or trade support or related to that global markets. All those roles are opening.
Okay. So that clears your question, Akhil Kumar.
Again, sorry, just one more point. Most of the misunderstanding many people have is the title versus maybe the role or the profile. Some people feel happy if I say that you will get into analyst or associate or financial analyst. These are just titles. Never go with that. Right? For example, if I take a company like JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, every fresher is analyst, the beginning title. Even person from IIM, IIT also will get analyst. People from graduation fresher also get the analyst. And CS also get the analyst, but the type of work they do is completely different. So this is where we always say, don't go by the title. If you are asking, and if I say that you will get into analyst, financial analyst, risk analyst, these are all a very wrong way of understanding the career or roles. You have to really look into which team you are getting into, what kind of work from tomorrow you have to do. That defines your career. So that's where I said, when I say role, any of these teams, the title can be anything. It can be like analyst, financial analyst, etc.
Basically, we have to concentrate on the job description. That's what you said.
You're right. Job description. And sometimes it will be very vague, particularly so there are some, maybe I cannot use in a public forum. There are some companies very intelligently, they'll say that all the job description will be, you have to be, efficient, proactive. You have to, deal with different counterparts. Something like very, very, very generic job description they'll give. You will not understand what exactly you have to do. Most likely those roles, they'll give you data entry or punching. There you have to be a little careful. Very few times you really understand the job description. This is where we felt you really need somebody from the industry who can help on that. There are many days we also went wrong. I mean, when I say as a fresher and all, not many times you don't understand, particularly those companies who are facing a lot of attrition because of the not quality data or quality role there. I mean, quality kind of a job they are not able to give. That's why attrition will be high. In those kind of places, they'll try to give you attractive either salary or title, something like research analyst. They'll say, actually, what you do is data entry. So there you need somebody who can guide you on those areas. Otherwise, it's not easy to understand job description. But short answer, yes, job description you must read. You try to understand, otherwise reach for the help.
I can say that you touched on a very good topic, sir. Next question is,
any internship opportunities in investment banking and fund accounting?
Yeah, there are.
Do we need only outsourcing training only, or they will give any internship opportunities?
They have internship almost, for example, recently even state company took, or Blackstone, Wipro, joint venture they have taken. There are companies who are giving internship also. Even under my, when I was in the industry like Goldman, I was also training even CA industrial trainees under me. I mean, one of the CA with membership, basically they have to give the certificate to them. I personally also has given. The point is, yes, obviously every industry has people, either CA industrial trainee kind of thing, or if you're an MBA background, internship is there.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you, sir. Next question.
Specific questions you have into these fields?
which most of the students might be having, and you want yourself to answer that. If you have any specific questions, you can answer them. So.
I mean, no, I'm assuming rather even otherwise, maybe anybody having that question, please go ahead. Maybe generally what are the mistakes you may need to avoid, etc. I'll take up. Maybe we'll try to wind up in 15 minutes max.
Okay.
Please go ahead. Somebody have a question in the meanwhile.
Can I speak?
Please.
Yeah, you can.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, I have an offer from a tier 2 city in an investment bank. But I've heard from my seniors that like you can always take statutory audit in a tier 1 city and then later switch to investment banking role, etc. So what would be your advice? Should I stick with the like tier 2 city and take a lesser pay? And then the growth in the future is going to be exceptional. I know, but like I'm confused on that.
Okay. It looks like you're not comfortable to disclose the city name or company name, is it? I mean, I'm not forcing you to say that. If you're comfortable, you can say that so that maybe answer can be a little more specific, but otherwise it's okay. I'll try.
Can I send you a direct message?
Done. So, and then before that, if I take a generic seed, many combinations, nobody will have a perfect answer because it's all about many combinations, but generally you're right. Tier 1 cities like, let's say, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Mumbai, etc. Obviously, yes, the pay will be normally high. And most of the times in those cities, you will have top companies. Most unlikely you will see any world's top 10 or top 20 companies starting in tier 2 cities. As of now, at least not there. Maybe over a period you might see in India. So more than the city here, I say starting with a big company always is a better option because see, sometimes as a fresher, we don't understand all these things. If you look back, maybe after with 10 years experience, for example, you'll understand why that company is top. The other company is not in the top list. Maybe the culture is different. The learning opportunities they give is different. There are so many things. So that way, if there is a possibility to start with a top company, aim for it rather than starting with a small company. Then come to the second part of it. If not possible to get into the tier 1, particularly in the combination again, tier 1 city is one thing, getting into the right company is the other one. Right company means at least a targeted company. Then role. As you said, now you are then comparing with statutory audit one side, IB one side. You are not talking about IB to IB. So this is where it's a little tricky. Now you look into your core interest, at least if not strength as of now. If interest is IB, then if I'm in your position, even though it is second tier, whatever it is, the role is more important to me. That's what we always guide our students also. The learning opportunity, spending time in the right role is more important than anything else. So I'm comfortably staying in my home city. Maybe cost of living is low, the salary is high. These are all secondary at some point of time. It's all about what you learn, where your expertise is lying, how quickly you are growing. These are more important in the life later point of time. So that way, if your interest is IB, the location is secondary, the payment is secondary. So I hope largely you got my view is this. If you have any specific question, you can directly message. Not in Zoom, I'm not reading. Maybe I'll give my contact details also towards later. If you want to message, you can do. Or maybe I don't find it difficult. I'll type in, maybe you can reach out to co-hosts also. They can also help you to route the queries to me. Otherwise also okay. I'll type in the WhatsApp number. You can just
Share
WhatsApp.
it here. You can share it.
Go ahead, please.
Sir, can I?
Yes.
Sir, my name is Sharan. I am completed my MBA in 2022. It means 8 months back. Now doing in one bank in marketing field. Due to misguidance, I did not get in finance role. I get marketing role. So now I am started to change my industry. I'm interested in fund accounting and IB. So what are the opportunities to me, sir? As MBA fresher, just 8 months before completion.
I got your point. Less than 1 year, we do have many cases like that earlier we have dealt with. So it's not a difficult task. We can always say for some reason, I was not getting the right opportunity, so I got into this. And now I have upgraded my skill set. I'm looking for a change in the industry. That's accepted. So now all that comes to one, your interest, and two, your skill set. I mean, how you can convince them. That part we can guide. So possible to change, possible to get into the right.
Okay, sir. Thank you. What kind of rules can we expect, sir? Like if you see
That's
IB, core
yeah.
IB, we can't get. You say there is a back end and middle. What type of rules can get
Right.
MBA student?
Let me take up two questions. First, when you say we can't get into IB, I said it is difficult. See, nothing is impossible. That's a standard saying. But then the more realistic you are, I mean, what are my strengths? Which college background I came, with whom I'm competing? As far as you have that real assessment, anything is possible. That is one. So I'm not saying it's just impossible to get into front end role or whatever so called, but then difficult, obviously. Come to the second part of your question. What kind of roles? That's what I said. See, I can use specifics, but I'm not sure how far you can understand. But largely what I'm saying is, take it this way. When we say asset management industry or fund accounting, largely what do they do? A company like Goldman Sachs will launch a fund, right? They'll reach out to wealthy investors like Ambani's and Adani's, for example. They'll collect the money from them, or institutions like Provident Funds. Let's say 10,000 crores they have collected today. Tomorrow they go and invest into any startup company like Paytm, Flipkart, Zomato, etc., or other assets like real estate. This is the high level what these fund accounting companies or asset management industry rather they do. Now, what kind of people they need to do all these things? It can be front office. Even in India they have, for example, where you have to deal with the client, convince them. It's largely comes under marketing, largely. Otherwise, presentations you have to give to investor and convince them where to invest. Are there more roles in India? Not much, because most of these foreign companies are outsourcing to India. All these front office roles are mostly in US, so ruled out. Are very less. Or otherwise, if you get into India company like Motilal Oswal, Edelweiss, etc., yes, you can get into those kind of roles also. Now come to second part. Fund is already launched. Now they're making the investments. They need people who do the research and find out where to invest. This is one kind of thing. Otherwise, remaining all. For example, investments are already made. Now all fund accounting starts, means prepare the financials, calculate the profit or loss for those funds, filing of those things with tax authorities, doing the audit for those funds, or doing the audit support. So all these rules is where more outsourcing is happening. Now, within that, what kind of role they can give? Most of the MBA freshers got into, for example, only valuations. Valuations means mainly where complexities can be still low. For example, fund invested into Apple company. You can go to New York Stock Exchange database and take the valuation. Or fund invested into Reliance. You can go to stock exchange like NSE and take the numbers. Take and calculate how many shares we have, how much is the portfolio value. These are all related to portfolio, updating the investments database, valuations, etc. The other side, accounting, posting the entries. The fund made the investment, post the entry, prepare the financials. Or if you join companies like ENY, PwC and all, they do the audit of these funds, means check whether the management fee calculations are correct, incentive fee calculations are correct, all these things. So that way, there are many roles within this scope, very high level when we say fund accounting or asset management. Within that, there are many roles. One of them, maybe you have to post the entries, or maybe you have to prepare the portfolio, maybe you have to file the tax papers of those things, or once some schedules in the financial statements you have to prepare, any of those things. Title they'll give normally financial analyst or portfolio analyst or analyst or associate, etc., etc. But the work depends on the fund. If it is a hedge fund, maybe they expect more knowledge from derivative side. Maybe either you have to record those derivative transactions or something related to that. So that way, largely it can be any role. But most of the IB fresh, or rather MBA freshers got into either those kind of those things or this one, IB trade operations. For example, recently also, last week, I think many MBA freshers got into trade support, buying and selling of securities, or trade life cycle related, doing the reconciliations between two sets of data, anything of those things.
So the common question most of the CA qualifieds, recently CA qualifieds are asking is, they are getting a lot of call letters from various IB interviews and all. So what are the few main skill set or skills that they have to procure before facing the interview?
So it depends on the role, areas will change, but very high level, obviously very good knowledge about the industry. What is this investment banks? Who are their customers? Where from they are getting the revenue? What is the difference between the roles? That's one side, all about role and company having excellent clarity. Come to second, all about the products, whatever derivatives or currency markets or debt market or research related, all the technical topics, including accounts being very strong. That's second. Third, mainly the preparation in terms of behavioral questions. Why you're choosing this industry? Why only this company? What do you know about this company? After 5 years, if somebody told you other industry is good or maybe practice is good, do you go back? So this behavioral side also they'll check. And latest updates about that industry. reading the newspapers and all. These 3-4 areas they have to concentrate. If they're really good, that should be good enough.
Great, sir. Thank you.
So one last question from me. So CA freshers know when they go to corporates and work out in big fours, if other roles, when they shift to fund accounting or investment banking, if they take, do they need to take training or will they give training? First question. If they give training, and what would be the CA packages, like salary packages? Is
Right.
this hike depends on previous profiles or like it will be low compared to previous profiles?
Right. I'll take up 3. Let me take first one, which is most assumptions we make. Any company will train. Certainly, yes. But then most of the time, the training is specific to complete that particular job. Maybe open this application, enter this data, then pull out this report, send it to XYZ client. This is how the training goes mostly. Now, is that enough to survive in that role? Yes, it is enough. But as I said, always, once you get the job, maybe 30-40% hike, whatever, it's done within 3 months. Now, am I getting the promotion? Am I getting the recognition? Do I have long-term career? This is where many people struck, including me at some point of time. This is why we started separate training institute and spending so much time. At least there are 2 points what we are doing is, right? One is more time. Maybe there they are training, for example, 10 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours, maybe here 200 hours. That makes a big difference. Second, there, when I'm training in my teams, when I was there in the industry, I'll not get that time. That is a non-value added activity to me, right? First, I have to complete my work. Whenever my work is done, I have lunch break or somewhere time. That's where I give the training. Otherwise, my trainers will be there who are not domain experts. They are just taken as a trainers, like college kind of training they'll give. The effectiveness is very low. When it comes to here, almost every batch we look at which interviews they're attending, which companies they're working, what challenges they are facing, what areas we are missing. So that way, syllabus is always updated. That's why we have live classes, not recorded classes. Every time it's updated. So the effectiveness is too high comparatively. So the training is quite, see, it's no rocket science at the end of the day. If you learn the driving from professional, then the chances of accident is very low and the effectiveness of the mileage and everything is too high. Comparatively, I can learn first. I'll get into the road somewhere. I'll learn, yes. But what if an accident matter? Life is over. Otherwise, maybe a lot of mistakes you do. It's not worth. That's all what I can say. Maximum 1 month or 2 months training with a little cost compared to the lifetime earnings that we have, effectiveness it has. There is no second thought of in my mind anytime if I have to spend on training. Obviously, I have to choose the right institute, right faculty. These things are where I agree. Where you might go wrong, that's a secondary. But the simple point of learned versus unlearned, trained versus untrained, 100% I can close my eyes and says the growth of the person who are trained is obviously the best. There's no second thought in that. I mean, you can apply your simple logics. That's one part. Come to the second. I'm changing from whatever audit role, etc. Do they give the hike or not? Yes. 99% of the cases, they also know if they pay you less salary or same salary, you will not have any motivation to work, right? That is also one of the factors they'll consider when they change the industry. So that way, obviously, almost in all cases, they give some hike only. For example, many people, particularly CA freshers and all who started with maybe practice or any companies where accounting, R2R, they call it as or GL, general ledger and all, or audit, like many we get from Big Fours mainly, or companies like relationship related, many banks are giving like marketing jobs and all for CA freshers. In campus, one or the other job they'll get into, then they realize, I think this is not the right role. I don't like it. Then they come. Now, in almost all cases, we got few cases, very good hike, maybe let's say 40+% hike. Or if the base is very high, maybe somewhere around 10% to 30% we have negotiated. So most likely scenario, they'll give hike only. A rare scenario, I don't think I remember anything where we saw maybe a cut we have taken, right? That's one. Is there any part of the question I'm missing?
Yeah, that's also. So how long this training goes on? Like how outsourcing, like
As
private
of now,
training?
right. So what we are doing is earlier we used to have investment banking, fund accounting all together 2.5 months kind of thing. But particularly CA freshers, they have a concern. Recently, I'm done with my education. Again, I can't spend that much time. This is where we have split IB and fund accounting. Fund accounting is only 1 month. If you're somewhat good with the topics, even first 2 weeks itself, you get good amount of grasp. What is this industry? What are the main areas to concentrate? You can start applying for the jobs within 2 weeks of training also. But the course goes for 1 month, fund accounting. Coming to IB, course goes for roughly 2 months, 50 days. That's a separate class. This is a separate class. If you manage both, maximum 2 months, everything will get over. Otherwise, 1 month. Even if you don't have time, 15 days is also quite good enough. From there, you can start. Continuous support will be there from our side. One, how your resume should look like. Two, we take the mock interviews and give the feedback to you and what are the areas you have to focus, because this is where again many people go wrong. I mean, I have many CA freshers, many CA with 10 years, 15 years experience also. We take mock interviews, we have this feedback. My point is, assuming that every mock interview is same, absolutely no. It's not about exactly ask some questions, right? What do you know about IRR? What do you know about IPO? It's not like that standard question. It's about, depends on your experience and profile, etc. The question will change. This is where many people, there will be a bouncer in the interview. Suddenly they will ask, Acha, you are saying in the bank audit of SBI, what is your challenges in that? Maybe you don't remember. Otherwise, they'll give you specific question. Maybe in the long form audit report, there is a new amendment recently. Do you know? That can be technical side. Mostly behavioral side people fail. For example, when I'm hiring a CA fresher or experienced into Goldman Sachs financial reporting role, or maybe a product controller role, when I ask what is your aim, they'll go and say that I want to make a career in investment banking. Now I'll reject. The reason is there is a separate division for investment banking. I'm not hiring for that division, which means even if I hire in this division, you will not stay for a long time. So like this, there are many questions where people make wrong. Based on that, we take the mock interview, and then we can help you till you placed in terms of, where you are going wrong, maybe which company is better for you. If you have multiple offers, what is better? So that way, continuous guidance will be there. You can take it anywhere. 15 days is the ideal time you have to spend with us to apply for the opportunities from there. It will continue. Even if you join one company, 1 year is over, you have some challenges. Maybe role you are not liking, maybe you have to move to other role, other location, still we can help. So that way, continuous support. Once you are a student for us always. That support will continue.
One
I hope
last
that
question.
Yeah,
Sorry to switch it further. The most pondering question. This is the most pondering question for most of the students. So, where can we find job interviews? Because they are not open in Naukri or some other platforms. Is it always through the referrals, or do we have any other sources?
See, obviously, that's what even we send to our students. You can try from multiple sources, but most of the times, direct referral, particularly, again, one more assumption is my friend is working in JP, he'll refer, I'll get the call. That will not work that way, because let's say if I had 2,000 people in JP Morgan, for example, each person uploading 2 resumes, I'll have 4,000 resumes. There is no way as a HR, I'll screen through everything. Now, a person having that influence where the resume will reach out to the hiring manager or HR who is recruiting for that team is more important. So if that happens, that's where most of the recruitment happen, either referral or institutions like us or any other HR consultant having direct connection with the HR. If the resume is going, at least they're opening that resume, that's where the opportunity of first start will be. Otherwise, applying, obviously you can apply in LinkedIn, company ka websites and Naukri, everywhere you have to try. See, trust me, sometimes if we don't do something from, let's say, I have not done MBA, for example, from a top university like Harvard or maybe IIM or something else, we assume maybe they have a lot of opportunities. They also are very careful about all these opportunities. Even IIM students directly try everywhere, even CA rank holders, whoever it is, you have to try from all the sources. That's one. Two, quite obviously, the more focused approach means which teams are hiring, is that good or not for me, and then reaching out for the referral, whatever route. But HR mentality normally more, the person who can understand their requirement and give the relevant resumes, that's what the first source they go for. Otherwise, if they keep open all these Naukri resumes, maybe I'll post for example, see a first-time guys, I'll see even degree failed guy application. They'll not even read which qualification, which experience, everybody applies. So nobody has that much time. So that's the big problem with Naukri and all. But rare cases when they have a lot of openings and all, they might consider. So there's nothing wrong in applying every source, but more you have targeted network. I want to get into Big Four, for example. Find out your friends working in Big Four, take their opinion, then apply. Never join any job, even generic, I'm telling. Just because in campus I got the offer, maybe some HR consultant issue me the offer, how to say no. This is one problem. As a fresher, I also faced. I also having around 3 months of articleship not completed. So I used to attend every interview in those 3 months. After passing, I have multiple offers, some foreign offers, some India offers. We face very difficult situation to say no. How can I reject? I got an offer, but then you have to say no other go. you have to choose the right one. So never hesitate to say no also if it is a wrong role. Don't assume these things. I'll work for 6 months, salary to aa gaya, then I'll change. It's not easy over a period. Yes, first 2-3 years generally it is easy to shift, but over a period it will be difficult. Then why do you want to even waste 3 months, 6 months? That's my point. So don't choose a role just because you got the offer. Choose the right one. Then coming back to your question again, sources, apply every source. The more authentic sources you have, I mean, somebody who is directly having connection with HR, that's where the choice of getting it fast will be there. Otherwise, you can try any role. That's nothing wrong. But again, try to take help from people who are in that company, in that industry. That's when things will move faster. Okay. Any questions? Let me know last question. Otherwise, we can wind up unless
Yes,
anybody else have any other.
So I think we can wind up this session.
We can.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking up this session and throwing very great insights and great light into this investment banking and fund accounting. It is pleasure to take you on board, sir.
Thank you so much, all.
sir,
See you at some point of
for
time.
accepting
Thanks
your invite and
for,
coming forward to us.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. It's a
Thank you.
great
Thank you.
interaction with all of you. Thank you so much. Stay in touch. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you all for
Thank
coming.
you all. Thank you all for
joining with
joining
us.
this session.
I'm just exiting.